Speaking of Amelia Broome, finally, Amelia, you're going to be singing this next song with Christopher Chu, A Little Priest. But just before that, I want to talk a little bit about your experience as a teacher here at Emerson. There's that saying that goes that if you can't do, teach, but that is definitely not true, because here you are performing professionally right here in Boston, and award winner and nominee several times for the Ernie, and many more. What do you think is the challenge of teaching and performing, as well as how does it influence your work in both areas?
Well, the challenge is a classic Emerson challenge of taking on too many things and being present and able to do your job when you've said yes to all of these things, and keeping your creative juices flowing. And I think that's part of the second question you have about what it adds to teaching. I think that in our profession, in our teaching profession, we need to teach from what we truly know, not from theory. And so if I can refer to what my experience is in class, it seems to land on a deeper level than if I were just telling people what they ought to be doing, you know?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Amelia. And Jonathan, on the piano, he's the music director for Lyric Stage's Sweeney. Todd, what about your experience? What has been your journey through being a musical director here at Emerson and outside?
I find I love the fact that just my experience in Emerson, that I get to teach studio classes with the musical theater students, but I also get to music direct them in shows. And I find that having both experiences with the students is so wonderful, because we can apply things we're doing in class to what they're rehearsing in the show, and vice versa. And I find the same thing happens with my professional work, whether I'm it's so great to get to work with alums like Sam in this case. I worked with him in Emerson, and now he's a professional, and we're working together. But I find the same thing, the things that I teach wind up working their way into my professional work in music direction, and I take the things that I do professionally and I bring them into class as well.
Beautiful.
So it's all one big wonderful jumble of knowledge.
Awesome. And you're a fountain of knowledge, I know, because I work with you constantly here, and you always know everything about every single show.
Well, that might be going a bit far, but
no, it's true though. Even the unknown stories. So it's so great to see, and I can't wait to go see Sweeney Todd at Lyric Stage and watch one of my professors just kind of bringing his love for music and everything in the professional world as well. So that's so awesome.
And I do that. This show is exhilarating, and it's there's so much tragedy in it, but there's so much comedy in it too, and it's so exciting. Yeah. And it's a roller coaster of emotions, musically and dramatically.
Well, with that, why don't we hear that last song, A Little Priest, sung by Christopher Chu and Amelia Broome. Take it away.
Seems a downright shame.
Shame?
Seems an awful waste. Such a nice plump frame. What's his name as? And has... nor it can't be traced. Business needs a lift, debts to be erased. Think of it as thrift, as a gift, if you get my drift. No, seems an awful waste. I mean, with the price of meat, what it is, when you get it, if you get it. Good, you got it. Take, for instance, Mrs. Mooney and a pie shop. Business never better, using only pussycats and toast. And a pussy's good for maybe 6 or 7 at the most. And I'm sure they can't compare as far as taste.
Mrs. Lovett, what a charming notion, eminently
does
practical
seem
and yet
a
appropriate
waste.
as always. Mrs. Lovett, how
an
I did without you
idea.
all these years, I'll never know.
Think
how
about it. Lots of other gentlemen will soon be coming for
also
a shave. Won't
delectable,
they?
how
are
choice,
all
how rare.
pies.
What's the sound of the world out there?
What, Mr. Todd? What, Mr. Todd? What is that sound?
Those crunching noises pervading the air.
Yes, Mr. Todd, yes, Mr. Todd, yes, all around.
It's man devouring man, my dear. And who are we to deny it in here? times, Mrs. Lovett, desperate measures are called for.
Here we are, hot from the oven.
What is that?
It's priest. Have a little priest.
Is it really good?
Sir, it's too good, at least. Then again, they don't commit sins of the flesh, so it's pretty fresh.
Awful lot of fat.
Only where it's at.
Haven't you got poet or something like that?
Now you see the trouble with poet is how do you know it's deceased? Try the priest.
Heavenly. Not as hearty as bishop, perhaps, but not as bland as curate either.
Good for business, too. Always leaves you wanting more. Trouble is, we only get it on Sundays. Lawyer's rather nice.
If it's for a price.
Order something else, though, to follow, since no one should swallow it twice.
Anything that's lean.
No, but if you're British and loyal, you might enjoy Royal Marine. Anyway, it's clean, though of course it tastes of wherever it's been.
Is that squire on the fire?
Mercy, no, sir, look closer, you'll notice it's grosser.
Looks thicker, more like vicar.
No, it has to be grosser, it's green.
The history of the world, my love,
Save a lot of graves, do a lot of relatives favours.
is those below serving those up above.
Everybody shaves, so there should be plenty of flavours.
How gratifying for once to know that those above will serve those down below.
Now let's see. We have a tinker,
Something pinker,
tailor,
something paler,
potter,
something hotter,
butler,
something subtler.
locksmith.
What is that?
It's fop, finest in the shop. And we have some shepherd's pie peppered with actual shepherd on top. And I've just begun. Here's a politician so oily, it's served with a doily. Have one.
Put it on a bun? Well, you never know if it's going to run.
Try the friar, fried and drier.
No, the clergy is really too coarse and too merely.
Then actor, that's compactor.
Yes, and always arrives overdone. I'll come again when you have judge on the menu.
Wait. True, we don't have judge yet. But we have something you might fancy even better.
What's that?
Executioner.
Have charity towards the world, my pet.
Yes, yes, I know, my love.
We'll take the customers that we can get.
High on and low, my love.
We'll not discriminate great from small. No, we'll serve anyone, meaning anyone.